So I saw the news. It's going around everywhere, posts, blogs, even here on Reddit. I'm going to read it for y'all. This says Easy says Chrome 23 is done. Leagues really are here today, gone tomorrow. RBE closes down. Bags and Bodies have one good event and then nada. TBL picks up steam. King of the Dot returns and then Chrome packs it in. Can't say Chrome was my favorite league. And after it stopped being about women, some might say it lost its way. But we got some quality material out of them. Easy versus Hitman, great battle. Geechee versus Suge, or Suge versus, I'm sorry, what was it? Was it Chrome 23? That was Easy and Suge as well. That was a big deal, right? Oh, it's Easy versus Hitman, Geechee, and Suge. All three. Yeah, all three of those on Chrome 23 are definitely big talking moments for the year. Big K versus Jazz, A Ward versus Vixen, that A Ward haymaker where he sat at the front of the stage, that's epic. Swamp versus Verb, grudge match coming off of the table. People were asking for that for a while. So finally they delivered that. That's dope. Ill Will versus Sharon, and a few others. It says, I don't know, man. The whole no battle rap isn't dying. Stop being negative. Cope really isn't holding up well these days. So it's saying, like, look around, people. We're trying to act like it's not, but look at this shit. So RBE closes down. You're damn right. 10-year anniversary. I said retiring on top. Bags and Bodies, one good event and then nada. So you're probably talking about the event of the year, which was Power Moves, headlined by Hitman versus Geechee. I don't want to speak for Holla, you know what I'm saying? But he actually, I think, mentioned some of this on his last stream that he did. It's just Holla don't cope well mixing what you got to deal with as a league owner. And Rem knows this. I know this. The owners of King of the Dot that's mentioned here know this. TBL knows this. Your patience has to be 100 out of 100. You got to deal with a lot of bullshit. You got to take losses. Um, Not every league owner is going to deal with what you got to deal with to be a league owner. If you can do it for 5 years, if you could do it for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, then salute to you. It's something absolutely to be praised. You know, it's one of the hardest jobs, or actually, it's the hardest job that I've ever done. I've worked a lot of different jobs in my life. Being a league owner year to year is the hardest job I've ever done. Now I would never take it back. I love what I was able to do in the world of hip hop and battle rap. But it's tough, man. It's tough. If everybody's making money, nobody closes down or goes away. I'll tell you one thing I do respect about this announcement coming from that direction of Chrome 23 and Easy. I respect just saying what it is and where we stand on things because one thing about being a league, there's no quota. There's no to be qualified for the All-Star game. You have to have a certain amount of games that you've played all year in the end. You know what I'm saying? There is none of that. To make it to the playoffs, you have to have a certain win percent. There isn't that. There's no quota. To be a league, all you have to do is say you're a league. You could take a year off, 6 months off, 2 years off, 3 years off. King of the Dot has taken a lot of gaps. Actually don't remember the last significant King of the Dot event ever since their partnership with TBL that had Big K and Tay Rock. You know, so they got a big event that they're rolling out right now for world domination. So that's dope. But there's no quota on consistency. So that's one thing you do have to give to URL minus pretty much what I've seen in 2024 and 2025 pretty much, which is whatever your output is, staying consistent with it. Like if you do 4 big events or significant events per year, if you can consistently do that for 5 years straight with no breaks or 10 years straight with no breaks, you know, Chrome 23, they may be looking at the landscape and not have that type of interest right now for what they got going on. So instead of just being a name that's sitting there on the sideline and then doing an event in 2027 and claiming, yeah, we're a league, because once again, there's no quota. You know, I think that it's whack that leagues get away with that because it's so much harder work to be consistent. And yeah, I'm taking that type of brownie point because I watch a lot of people just take these long extended breaks, but then still put those years on their resume. I've been around for X amount of years. Yeah, but 30% of those years you only did one event, or you went away, or you only did, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I respect it from that standpoint. Losing CHROME23 or them sitting on the sideline is a loss to battle rap, of course. Even from the battles that we read right there, those are significant matches, man. If it's not for CHROME23, those particular matchups just don't happen, you know? So what do you have right now? TBL is leading the way with consistency and significant battles as well as significant events. They're leading the way. URL is still right there. They've still managed to stay active, right? But I think they're looking, or they want sponsorship to come back in. You know, so as far as significant events, they can do significant events. They're just gonna have to budget a certain way. So can we get a Summer Madness, a Gnome this year? You probably get the Surf return and all that. Those will all be significant moments for them. And I expect them to have a much better 2026 than they did 2025 and 2024. So you still have that. Um, what are other leagues are like the significant, like that'll be doing big rollouts, big cars, they have big budgets, they're not sitting around waiting for sponsorship or else they can't do nothing. If King of the Dot does at least 2 more significant events this year, total of 3, give me 3. If URL does at least 2 to 3 significant events this year, Trenches mixes in a couple of events, right? And then of course you have all the other leagues as well that do their thing, but it won't be like the biggest, like iBattle is out there working and whatnot, right? Battle Academy, and salute to all the leagues, man. Then we'll get a good year of battles, you know, but being consistent and spending the type of money that it takes to have significant events in battle rap is just not easy given the ROI. You know, CHROME23 and Eazy, you could see it even from their activity, right? As a league, if you have like, let's say your star player, you got your LeBron and Eazy the Block Captain that can actually headline a card, okay? So you got your LeBron, you got your promotion because you have like Rem, you have CHROME23, you have a brand, you have a YouTube channel that has a lot of subscribers. You have these elements already in place for success. Success behind the scenes is different as far as being in the green and generating a certain amount of money. When you see Eazy taking these battles outside of Chrome or outside of trenches, sometimes it's way easier to let somebody pay you than to pay yourself in the space of battle rap. Okay. It's not easy for Eazy to go battle on the trenches, Ill Will on the trenches, or Suge on CHROME23 and pay himself $30,000 or $40,000. I would question his ability to do that. You know, now you get the residuals, you get the ownership, you get the footage, you get the promotion, you get the building of the company. These are pieces that are very, very valuable as well, especially in time, right? Building up your library and all that type of stuff. Like the RBE channel, you know, has money that it makes monthly off of its library, you know. So building and investing in that type of stuff is definitely very, very valuable. But when I see some of these battles, like let's say the Cassidy attempts that couldn't be landed on like CHROME23, but it can be landed somewhere else on TBL, you know? So I understand. I get it. I don't think it's a knock towards what Rem brought in. Rem brought in a lot of energy. She brought in her celebrity. She cut the females a bunch of big checks. I don't even blame her for having to spin in a different direction slightly because the guys garner more views than the ladies, right? And it becomes a business thing where you have to actually make the money if you're going to continue the fucking platform. Okay. I'm not trying to say that the ladies couldn't carry it. I'm not trying to say that. But it's just not easy. And then when you get to that Hitman battle, when you do Hitman versus Eazy and you see the sea of people in front of you, your anniversary event, you say, oh shit. Or you look at your pay-per-view and say, look at all this money I made. Or you look at the views on YouTube and say, even a YouTube video made tens of thousands of dollars. Right. That works versus turning around and doing like a small room event, you know, that doesn't have, that has mid tiers in it, or even some top tiers that don't draw, you know. Then it becomes like, I got this other stuff going on. We got the Rem network. I got other ventures and TV and music that I'm trying to do. And Eazy still looking to get bags on other leagues like URL or TBL, for example. Trenches is still right there. Eazy, I expect Eazy to be live very, very frequently. You know what I'm saying? It becomes that. And if you're have any common sense from the outside looking in, you can see the changes and you can understand them. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Chrome23. If they never did another event, Chrome23 has a dope legacy. All right. And I would always salute Chrome23 for how they came in, created a big wave, delivered some huge battles, and did they fucking thing. But battle rap, it's very tough to be built for longevity, especially if you're not going to be budgeting in the losses. Trust me, I lived through it.